What if I told you there's a hidden code to becoming irresistible to women? Something 99% of them crave, but will never admit out loud. It's not money, looks, or cheesy pickup lines. It's a primal instinct rooted in Stoic philosophy, something ancient Romans used to command respect without saying a word. But most men get this wrong and end up invisible. Want to know the secret? Don't scroll away. This might change your life. By the end of this video, you'll learn 7 non-negotiable traits that make women lean in. Traits they'll never ask for directly. Why? Because these aren't about them. They're about you. How you carry pain. How you handle rejection. How you radiate a quiet power that doesn't beg for attention. Stick around, and I'll show you how to unlock this, using lessons from Stoicism, dark psychology, and the unspoken rules of human attraction. And trust me, 5 will hit you like a freight train. Number 1. Women want you to be unshakable, not perfect. Picture this. Marcus Aurelius, meditations in hand, ink staining his fingers as distant war horns blare outside his tent. The ground trembles with the march of legions. Death hangs in the air like fog, yet his words flow steady, deliberate, unbroken. This isn't a scene of escape weakness. It's a masterclass in Stoic defiance. Now ask yourself, what do women truly crave from men? Not a knight in shining armor who collapses at the first crack in his armor, but a man who stands firm when chaos reigns. A man who, like Marcus, writes his own code of honor amid life's battles. Here's the raw truth they won't tell you. Women aren't looking for a hero to slay their dragons. They're drawn to the man who becomes the mountain in the storm. Think of the coworker who stays cool during a screaming match in the boardroom, his voice calm, eyes sharp. Not because he's emotionless, but because he's mastered the art of channeling fury into focus. Or the guy who grins after a brutal rejection, not as a mask, but as proof that his self-worth isn't chained to someone else's yes. That's Stoicism in action. It's not about burying feelings. It's about forging them into a sword. When life unravels, when she cancels, last minute when bills pile up, when the world feels like it's spinning off its axis, that's your moment. Your breath steadies, your shoulders drop. You don't beg, blame, or break. Instead, you radiate a quiet truth. My value isn't negotiable. And here's the kicker. That's the primal trigger women can't resist. It's biology meets philosophy. For thousands of years, survival depended on partnering with those who could endure. So when you laugh at rejection, when you hold eye contact as she tests you, you're not just displaying confidence, you're awakening a deeper instinct. One that whispers, "This man won't falter even if I do." Ask yourself, would you follow someone who crumbles under pressure? Neither will she. But show her the man who treats chaos as a forge, who transforms pain into purpose, fear into fuel, and watch her lean in. Because that is the ultimate seduction. Not needing her, but choosing her. Number 2, the dark psychology of silence. A dimly lit bar pulsing with laughter, clinking glasses, and the desperate clamor of men competing for attention. In the corner, there's that guy, voice booming, cracking jokes, sweating through his shirt. Across the room, another man sits calmly, his eyes sharp but relaxed, leaning in as the woman across from him speaks. He isn't rehearsing his next line or flexing his achievements. He's listening. Not the hollow most men default to, active listening, where his silence becomes a magnet. Her words slow, her posture softens, and suddenly she's the one chasing his approval. Why? Because women are biologically wired to distrust noise. They've evolved to spot the man who doesn't need to perform, the one who wields silence like a chess master, not a bullhorn. Think of Obama's deliberate pauses or Clint Eastwood's squint, men who let their presence breathe. Ever been the loud guy, only to watch her walk away bored? Or worse, felt the sting of realizing your charm was just insecurity in disguise? True power isn't monopolizing the conversation, it's curating it. Let her fill the silence. Notice how her voice dips when she mentions her dreams, how her fingers tap when she's holding back pain. When you finally speak, your words land, like stones in a pond. You're tougher than you let on, aren't you? No pickup line can mimic that depth. This isn't manipulation, it's strategic patience, a Stoic superpower. Seneca didn't whisper, "To know when to be silent is wisdom," to Roman elites for applause. He knew silence is the ultimate flex, in a world addicted to validation. Loud men reek of neediness. Silent men, they radiate mystery, confidence, and the primal question, what's he thinking? And nothing is sexier than a man who'd rather be misunderstood than beg to be heard. Number 3, your pain is your power. Imagine a man who walks into a room not with the swagger of arrogance, but the quiet gravity of a storm that's learned to calm itself. His hands bear calluses from rebuilding his life after loss. His eyes hold the flicker of hard-won wisdom, like embers glowing long after the fire. This is the man women feel before they see him, the one who doesn't shout about his pain, but lets his resilience echo in every step. Think of David Goggins grinding through 100-mile races to outrun his past, or Nelson Mandela turning 27 years of prison into a masterclass in forgiveness. These men didn't just survive their pain, they alchemized it. Stoics called this amor fati, the art of falling in love with your fate. It's not about plastering a smile over scars, it's about staring into the abyss of a breakup, a betrayal, a failure, and whispering, "What did you come to teach me?" Picture a man at a cafe calmly sipping black coffee as he journals lessons from his divorce. He doesn't rant about his ex. He writes, "Losing her taught me loyalty isn't demanded, it's earned." His vulnerability isn't a wound, it's a badge. When he speaks, his voice carries the texture of gravel smoothed by rivers of resolve. Women sense this like a sixth sense. They're drawn not to the man who hides his pain, but to the one whose scars gleam like Damascus steel. Forged in fire, folded 1,000 times, unbreakable. Why? Because every woman knows storms. When she sees you've navigated yours with purpose, not panic, she'll think, if he can turn that into fuel, what could he do with my chaos? That's the secret, not perfection, power, the kind that doesn't shout, it hums. Number 4, boundaries are the ultimate aphrodisiac. Here's the brutal truth they won't tell you. If you refuse to set boundaries, women will test you, not out of malice, but primal instinct. Like a storm probing for cracks in a fortress, they'll push until you bend or break. Picture this, your elbows deep in your mission. A side hustle, a workout grind, a creative project, when your phone buzzes. Come over tonight? She knows you'll drop everything. The smell of fresh coffee lingers in your workspace, your fingers hovering over the keyboard. What's one night? But Stoicism isn't about grand gestures. It's about the micro battles. Self-ownership means saying, not tonight. I'm honoring my word to myself with calm finality. Not anger, not guilt, just the quiet thunder of a man who'd rather sit alone in his integrity than laugh in a crowd of compromise. Ever found yourself canceling your gym session to soothe her unexplained mood? or biting your tongue as she mocks your ambitions, mistaking your silence for weakness. That's the slow erosion of self-respect. Women don't chase doormats, they chase mountains. Marcus Aurelius wrote in The Dust of War, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. When you walk away from petty drama, her sarcastic jab, the guilt-tripping texts, you're not being cold. You're radiating a truth deeper than words. My peace is non-negotiable." Think of the last man you truly admired. Was he the people-pleaser, sweating to accommodate every whim? Or the one who moved with unshakable rhythm? The friend who left the party early to prep for his marathon? The colleague who politely deigned you to hit his... That's Stoic sovereignty. It's not about building walls. It's about guarding the sacred fire of your purpose. And here's the paradox. When she sees you'd rather burn alone than let others dim your flame, that's when attraction ignites. Not because you're punishing her, but because you've shown her what's possible when a man refuses to betray himself. The moment you stop apologizing for existing, that's when the chase begins. Because respect isn't given, it's taken. By those brave enough to stand firm in their own storm. Number 5. The warrior's ambition that triggers her loyalty. A man hunched over a desk at midnight, the faint glow of a laptop illuminating his face. The air smells of coffee and ambition. He's not texting her. He's not scrolling through her photos. He's coding his startup, sketching a business plan, or devouring Marcus Aurelius. This is the man women can't ignore. Because here's the raw truth. Women don't crave a love-struck admirer. They crave a force of nature. Think of Cato the Younger, the Stoic titan who chose death over compromising his principles. Would he have begged for attention? No. His obsession wasn't romance. It was legacy. Your purpose isn't to orbit her world, it's to build your own. Imagine two men. One cancels his gym session to reply to her texts. The other says, "I'll see you at 8. I'm in the middle of something." Which one lingers in her mind? Ambition is magnetic. It's the crackle of a wildfire, the rumble of a storm. When she watches you grind, sweat dripping as you deadlift your doubts, or hears your voice steady and firm while pitching your vision, she doesn't see a boyfriend. She sees a king, and kings don't chase. They invite. Ask yourself, are you, sculptor, chiseling your soul into something unbreakable? Or just another boy lost in the dopamine haze of her Instagram likes? Remember, Rome wasn't built by men who prioritized dates over destiny. So let her glimpse your hunger. Let her hear the roar of your discipline. Because when she realizes you're building an empire, she'll stop playing games and start fighting to stand beside you. In a world of boys screaming for attention, silence is power, growth is a language she can't resist. And you're not just fluent, you're poetry. Number 6. Why vulnerability backfires and what to do instead. Let's crush a myth right now. Vulnerability isn't spilling your trauma on a first date or tearing up at every emotional flicker. Real vulnerability, the kind that commands respect and builds genuine connection, is standing tall when your values are mocked, when your integrity is inconvenient. It's the quiet courage to say, "I don't know, but I'll figure it out," while others pretend to have all the answers. Imagine a man who shares how he lost everything, then rebuilt himself with grit and lessons carved into his soul. That's magnetic. Now compare that to someone who pleads, "I'm scared you'll leave me," before trust is even earned. One opens the door to empathy, the other triggers emotional pressure. Women crave emotional depth, not a dumping ground for every passing fear. They want to see your scars, not be buried under your open wounds. Can you share your journey without asking to be rescued? Can you speak your truth without begging for validation? Strength isn't about pretending to be unbreakable. It's about showing the pieces you've put back together with your own hands. Vulnerability done right doesn't repel. It attracts because it shows you're grounded, self-aware, and still daring to be open. That's what creates true connection. Number 7. The final test. Every woman secretly hopes you'll pass. Every woman, whether consciously or not, carries a silent question in her mind. Can I break you? It's not born from malice or cruelty, but from a need to understand your strength, your limits. She might test you by poking at your ego with subtle jabs or challenges, or perhaps she'll flirt with others right in front of you, just to see how you react. Maybe she'll disappear for days, leaving you in silence, uncertain, wondering if you've been forgotten. But this isn't a reflection of her indifference, it's a test. The real question she's asking is whether you'll crumble under pressure. Will you beg for her attention, flood her with desperate texts, or fall apart when she's distant? Or will you, as Epictetus wisely advised, stand firm in your own self-mastery? No man is free who is not master of himself. The key lies in your response. If you mirror her energy with calm indifference, maintain your dignity, and walk away, you hold the power. In that silence, she will be forced to face her own vulnerability. She will return, not out of obligation, but because nothing terrifies a woman more than a man who stands unwavering, who doesn't need her validation to feel whole. It's the quiet confidence of a man who understands his own worth, and that's the true source of power. Conclusion. Look, I get it, this isn't easy. But here's the cold reality. The man you're avoiding becoming, the disciplined, boundary-driven Stoic, is the man women secretly crave. Not because he's perfect, but because he's free. Free from validation, free from fear, and that freedom, it's contagious. So ask yourself, will you keep chasing, pleading, hoping, or will you build a soul so strong they chase you? The choice is yours, but if you wait too long, regret is heavier than discipline. This channel isn't about quick fixes, it's about awakening the unbreakable man inside you. If you're done being invisible, hit like, subscribe, and let's go to war.